never let the past come back. But you know you gotta come back.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Keeping Up with Cows. This video is a story time on how I was getting cheated on for 4 months straight, like you could say, basically. Damn near the whole relationship. I was getting cheated on the whole relationship, okay? So I'm just gonna get right into the story. I'm not even gonna dilly dally. But yeah, like, keep in mind, I've been through a lot with this one person in the short time that we've been together, so this video might be a little long, but I promise you it's worth it because I got all the juicy screenshots and everything. So, you know, let's just get into the video. So he had wanted me since I was like 15 because I was still living in Flatbush. So he had wanted me when I was like a little girl. I was already in high school, but he was older than me. I think I was like a freshman. He was probably like a junior or some shit. But we didn't go to the same school. Like, we just had each other on Facebook and, you know, on social media or whatever. So like, I never really paid him no mind though, because like, once again, I'm a freshman and he's either a junior or a senior, whatever the fuck, feel me? But I'm a freshman, like, I just started, so I'm not paying you no mind. In my head, I already knew where his head was at. Like, I know what you're trying to do. Fresh meat, fresh. Feel me? No, not over here. So he had got into a relationship or whatever, like a year after, some shit like that, I don't know. He got into a relationship or whatever, and like, the whole time he was with this girl, he was always trying to fuck with me. He was always trying to mess with me, shoot his shot. He would flirt with me. He would never miss a snap. He would respond to almost everything. Like, feel me? You would have thought he was single the way he was on my body, like, for real, like, you know. But yeah, so one day, like a few years later, like, feel me? Like I said, this was like when I was 16, when he was like swiping up on everything still, whatever. He never stopped though the whole time. Like, they've been together for 3 years supposedly, and that whole 3 years he been with this girl, he has never stopped trying to fuck with me. So, feel me? Yeah, one day a few years, like, this was like the other day, I was like, feel me, I was 18, so it was just not too long ago. I'm about to be 19 next week, but still, you know, it was like November or whatever. I had posted a snap and I'm like, oh, I'm single, whatever. These, you know, don't deserve me, yada yada yada. He was like, oh, come mess with me, I'm gonna treat you right, I'm gonna take care of you, you know, I've been wanting you for the longest. So I'm like, all right, let me see where this go, because you really been on my heels since I was 15. So let me just see what you about. Like, let me show me, like, show off, go off. Like, feel me? You've been trying to get my attention since I was 15. I'm 18 now, about to be 19. So show me what you got. Like, that was my energy. Like, you talk like you grown. Let's see if you really grown. Like, especially because you like 21 and I'm 18. So I'm expecting you to be like, you know. But yeah, so eventually I decided, like I said, eventually I decided, like, why not? Like, let's just fuck with each other, see where it goes, yada yada yada. Yo, I'm loving this hair right now, y'all. I'm loving it. Installed by me, everything by me, makeup by me, everything. Did you know that? But yeah, so the first few months was going great. Like, he was always on the phone, he was always texting, he would be at work, he would be on the phone with me his whole shift, have me in his pocket with his headphones in his ears. If he could FaceTime me, he would FaceTime me. He would be on FaceTime while he at work. Any which way you put it, he was trying to reach out to me, and he was just doing what he had to do. Like, I thought, like, you know, he bought what he say he bought, right? But eventually it didn't give what it was supposed to give. But yeah, so like I said, everything was going good. He would take me wherever I wanted to go. He would come pick me up, whatever, drive me around, go on nice little cute little date spots or whatever. We go to the piers in his car, smoke weed, eat some food. Feel me? We went like the movies, Spa Castle, like we was doing a lot. Like, feel me? Don't get me wrong. Like, it was good. Like, I love riding passenger too. Like, I'm in the front seat of his car and he's just riding or whatever. And I'm just sitting there looking out the window like a lost puppy. Like, feel me? Because I like quality time, and he was moving like he was about what he said he was about. But honestly, that's for, you know, further on in the story. But yeah, so you know, I'm thinking like, okay, I got a good man. I'm finally happy. He taking care of me. He making sure I'm well. Feel me? He making sure I smoke well, I eat well, I sleep well. No, not sex sleep well, but like, you know, he come hang out with me after work. Mind you, he live all the way in Long Island. I live in Brooklyn. That's like a 40-minute ride or whatever, depending on what part. But it's far, like 40 minutes in a car, like, and by train and shit, it's probably like 2.5, 3 hours, like, and that's still New York though. But he just live mad far. He would come straight from work, mind you. He worked in Queens, damn near like 10 minutes away from his house or whatever. He would come all the way out here just to see me. He would stay here. He would stay here till like 3 in the morning, go home, fall asleep for like 2 hours, wake up, he back to work, come back here. Same thing. It was like a routine every day. But he wouldn't come inside. Like, I would go out and go sit in his car because we wasn't having sex here. So I'm like, no, like, we gonna take our time. He was not about to come to my crib first thing and think you about to get your nut off and then go back and tell your friends. That's not what you're doing here. Like, you gonna get to know me and you gonna get to know her. And that's what he was doing. He was moving like he was okay with that. And he really was. Hold on, not gonna say that. He was moving like he was okay with it. It ain't no he really was. Feel me? So, yeah. Like, how one night he was in my crib. This is like probably... Okay, so before I tell you that, so basically I had one day, the day of my surgery or whatever. My surgery was February 25th. He had got into a fight. He left my house the day before, the 24th, and said that he was going to go link his friends. He went to go link his friends, then said, oh, they had got into a fight because, like, I asked him what's taking you so long to respond. He was like, oh, we was just fighting. We just beat up somebody that hit my friend car. So I'm like, some stupid shit. So I'm like, oh, okay, you done fighting now. So what's up? Like, what are you doing? Feel me? This is all after my surgery. Like, this is like the same day after my surgery. It was like 6, 7 p.m. I'm like, what you doing? Like, feel me? Can you bring me something to eat? He was like, I got you. Then he disappeared for a few hours. Like, I'm talking about like 5, 6 hours. And I'm calling him, texting him, He's not responding. He's not saying nothing. So I'm like, cool. That's that. Then he popped up to my house like 10 minutes after I blocked his number. Like, oh, he had got into a fight and then he went to go fix his car. I'm like, at 10 p.m.? You went to go fix your car at 10 p.m. What tire shop is open right now? They close at a certain time. So what tire shop is you going to? Like, what are you lying to me for? Like that. I ain't even really stressed that too much. So later on that night, I looked through his phone, right? I didn't look through his phone. He was sleeping on the bed next to me and he had the phone on his chest. Normally, my iPhone, it would not do this. If you try to pick up my phone and my eyes is closed, it's not going to open. But I guess he didn't have it set like that, so I put the phone in his face. His eyes was closed and the phone opened. So I'm looking through his phone. Now, let me tell you what I seen. I seen he's on text now, texting prostitutes, asking them how much they rate. And if he book a 4-hour session, they're going to stay with them for the full 4 hours and all that extra shit. Feel me? Then I go on his Cash App. He's paying for OnlyFans. Feel me? I'm looking through his iMessage now. It's galore. It's, yo, bear gal lemon. Yo, bro. I'm talking about like at least 30 different in his phone that he is flirting with. So now, you know me. Before I punch him, I'm looking through phone. I'm making sure I see everything. I'm looking at his call logs, his text messages, Instagram, Facebook. I told you I didn't check the Cash App, the text now, Telegram. I didn't look through everything. I looked through his photos and everything, yo. Swear to God. But yeah. So I punched him. He like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, nigga, threw his phone at him. I'm like, hey, this is what I said. I said, dirty A-N. Because YouTube keep trying to block me for cursing. But you know, you dirty ass male. I could say. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just looked through your whole entire phone. Your whole phone. He like, baby, come here. Baby, please. Baby, I'm sorry, baby. No, punched him again. Mind you, I just did my surgery. Like, just did my surgery. Punched him again. Bow. No, don't touch me. My mom come in the room because she heard a commotion. She's like, what happened? She hear me screaming at him. She hear me talking about, oh, you paying for, you messing with prostitutes, you dirty, And she heard all of that. So she came in the room. She was like, what's going on? I'm like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. He just got to go. My mom was like, can you just leave, please? She was like, I don't want to deal with this tonight. We can come back later and talk about it. But right now, can you just leave? And he left the house, but he sat outside in his car. And he kept calling me, crying. Like, can you just come talk to me, please? Like, when I say he's crying, he's actually like, come to. He's literally on the phone crying. The whole dramatic scenery and all. Like, feel me? So, I ended up going outside. I definitely did. So now, because one part of me went outside because you owe me an explanation. And I want to see if you really crying. Like, I want to see some tears. Look at me, cry. Like, look at me and cry. Like, feel me? Cry. That's what I wanted to see. Some tears. But, yeah. So, we went out there just talking. Probably less than a week later. First of all, the day. Okay. I'm going to tell y'all in the order that I found out. So, it might sound like I'm jumping from part to part to part. But I'm giving y'all a rundown as to how I found everything out. And like how I cleared up all his little past lies and his future lies and his current lies. So don't think I'm just bouncing around all over the place. No, that's not the case. I'm trying to explain the story in the way that it happened step by step. And how I had to backtrack and see what he was lying about and stuff like that. You feel me? I want y'all to understand how I felt and what I was going through. And that's that. So probably less than a week later, I get in his car, right? Right? And the day of my surgery, when I told y'all he was not responding, he claimed he had gotten into a fight with his friend. And the man, he had came to my house with a bite mark on his hand. Like, you see the teeth. Like, somebody done took a chop of his, feel me? He like, oh, the man that they was fighting bit him. And I'm like, I don't believe that. Because when me and you fight, I'm biting you. Like, feel me? If you hit me too hard, you trying to choke me, I'm going to bite you. So you expect me to believe that another man bit another man? Do I look dumb? Or flip, I did not believe that, but he kept preaching that. So I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna get the truth out of you anyway. So whatever, I'm gonna just go ahead with whatever you say. That's cool. Feel me? So I get into the car like after the fight, like a few days after the fight, and it's this laptop. The laptop looked exactly like mine. Exactly like mine. So I tried to pick it up to look at it. He slapped it down mad quick. He was like, don't touch that. Don't touch something. I'm like, okay. Whatever. So then I left the laptop alone for a few days. I ain't gonna lie, like I didn't touch it because I never really had the opportunity to touch it because he's always in the car with me. So one day, like I was saying, one day he drove to the corner store. I'm still on crutches. It's like all this is within my first 2 weeks of being on crutches. So all this is going on within like a week and a half, a week. It ain't even been a full 2 weeks. Feel me? So he go in the store and I'm in the car by myself. I look back, the laptop's still on the back seat. So I turned around and I opened it. The name said Alexis something. I don't remember her last name, but it said Alexis something. So he get back in the car and I'm like, who's Alexis? He's like, oh, that's my ex. I'm like, how the f you got her laptop? Excuse my French. How the hell you got her laptop? He like, oh, I went over to her house. I'm like, what? What do you go to her house for? He like, oh, she said she had my Balenciagas and $1,700 that she owed me. I'm like, bro, what? All this money you getting? No, it was his Dior sneakers. I'm like, all this money you getting and you want the Dior sneakers and $1,700? You was a scammer, for God's sakes. You bringing in bread. Whether it was the PPP or the UEs, you was bringing in money. So you talking about some... You going to our house for a little $1,700 because that's nothing. You leave your house with 3 bands and 20s in your pocket. That's your pocket money for the day. So you telling me you went to our house for $1,700 and some sneakers, and I'm supposed to believe that that's all you went for? Cool. So that's when I started connecting the dots. I'm like, when did you go there? He was like, oh, the other day. I'm like, oh, that's when you had caught that ticket. He was like, no. I'm like, you're lying. That's when you caught the ticket. You was at her house. Pull out the ticket. I'm like, oh. This bitch already live at, like right here, right in front of the fire hydrant, right? This where you was at. Cool. He was like, oh, that's all he went over there for. He not with her no more. So I'm trying to get out the car now, y'all. I'm trying to get out the car. Mind y'all, like I said, I'm still on crutches. He speeds off with like the car door open, knowing that, you know, if he speed off, it's gonna close. It's gonna close. So like it closed and I had to put my seatbelt back on. But he's speeding, mind you, my foot is on the floor and I just did my surgery. Like it's like it's not up, it's not elevated, it's down. So he's speeding, he speed off on a speed bump. Bow, my whole foot hit the thing, like the little glove compartment, the whole foot just bow, hit the whole thing. I'm like, wow. So now I get in the back seat. I'm trying to get out. He's not letting me get out. Every time he's speeding off, he's like, no, you're not leaving me, you're not leaving me. Like he was telling me that I'm not leaving him. Like I'm not. So he started speeding, driving. I'm like, yo, where you going? Like he ended up in Canarsie. I'm trying to get out the car in Canarsie. He not letting me get out. He ended up driving to his house in Long Island. And on the highway, he made a little joke like, "Oh, do you want to get out now?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really care. Like, I'll call 911 and have him come pick me up from right here. You gonna let me out? Let me out. Whatever. Feel me?" He didn't let me out. So in the car, I'm texting my mom, and I'm like, "Mom, I'm scared. Like, he's really acting like he was really going berserk. Like, he was moving like he wanted to hit me." Or types of shit. So I'm texting my mom. I'm like, "Mommy, I'm scared. I just want to come home." I'm texting my best friend. I'm like, "Yo, can you come get me, please? Like, come on. Like, please come get me." He's like, "Where you at?" I said, it. Let me text 911. Right? I'm in his car trying to text 911. He looking over at the phone like, "Who the you text? Who the oh, you want to text your best friend?" Anyways, so we get to his house. But on the way to the house, he kept screaming. He was doing like a $120 on the belt or whatever. And I called his friend. I'm like, "Yo, can you like calm him down, please? Like, he's really like scaring me right now. Like, feel me?" Because he definitely was. He was dead scaring me. So his friend was trying to calm him down, but it wasn't working. And that just made him more upset. So I hung up. Then we got to the crib. Well, we got to his house. He hopped out the car, and then he went in his house. Came back outside with a gun. And he was like, he put one in the head. I swear to God, he put one in the head. And he put it behind my seat. Then he got out, came back and took it, pointed it at me. He was like, "Yo, call your best friend now." Just like that, word for word. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because at this point, I'm not even about to play with my life. Because, like, he obviously a little mental. I'm not even going to play with my life. So, I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I was not even talking to him. Get the out of here. Bullshitting, feel me? That was that. Like, he drove around a few times, was screaming like he normally do, just scream and scream and scream. That's all he know how to do. He don't know how to have a civilized conversation. He just know how to. That's all he know. I swear to God. Don't be laughing at my facial expressions either, because I had like 3 pieces of an edible, and right now I'm zooted. Like, I don't even know if y'all can tell, but I'm zooted right now. Like, feel me? But yeah, so like I was saying. He ended up going back inside to take a shower because I guess he thought like we was on good terms. You just pulled the gun out on me and think I'm staying in fucking car, nigga. Fuck you in this car. How about that? So I got out. First, I called my cab because he went inside to go shower. I called my cab. I waited till my cab got there. Then I got out his car and I locked the door. I locked the door before I closed it, so his car would be locked. Okay. Feel me? And then I got in my cab, and when I got in my cab, I texted him, and I said that, yeah, I left. Your car was locked, so I'm on my way home. I took a cab. He hops out the shower. I don't even think he even got in the shower. He hopped out, got in his car, started speeding in my house. He's like, "Yo, I'm on my way to your house right now." And somehow it ended up on food. Like, he asked me if I wanted something to eat to take my painkillers or whatever, because he knew my food was dead. I turned from that bullshit that he did. So he was like, do you want something to eat or whatever? I'm like, "Sure, some Chinese." And it's this Chinese spot that he put me on to that tastes so good. So I told him to go get it from there. So he went to go get the food, and then like it fell, so he had to go back and get another one. So that was that for that night. He came inside, we was talking or whatever. Then it's so funny how God works. Like, not too long after I found out his ex-girlfriend name was Lexi or Alexis, you know, I get an ad from somebody on Facebook, and the name is Lexi Sage. So I'm like, hold on. And she got his friend as a mutual friend, and she got his friend's girlfriend. So I text her. I'm like, "Yo, is so and so your ex?" She like, "No, did he tell you that?" I'm like, "Nah, it's cool, it's whatever." She like, "Wow, what happened? Like, put me on." I'm like, that's your boyfriend." I'm like, I said, "That's not your ex," something like that, some stupidness like that. I'm gonna try to find the screenshots, but she blocked me, so I'm not too sure if I can still go on Messenger and find it, but I'm gonna try to find some of them at least, because I know I have some of them left somewhere in my photos or whatever. Might not be the whole thing, but it's pieces. But yeah, so like yeah, so I texted her. I'm like, "Is so and so your ex?" She's like, "No." "Is he telling you that?" I'm like, "Nah, I said nah, he didn't, but he did." Like, I mean, I wasn't trying to, you know, embarrass her or nothing, so I was just gonna take it up with him, because like at the end of the day, I'm not dating her. I was supposed to be in a relationship with him, like, you know. So like that was that. Me and her, like, we ended up talking all night. She asked me like how long me and him was together for, and like I'm like, if this is your man, how can he be your man if every day since we started talking for real, he's been here with me? She's like, oh, I haven't seen him in a while, since he got his new job. I'm like, girl, he got fired from that job over 2 months ago. So like, what are you saying to me? I was not trying to, argue with her, because, feel me? But it was like some of the stuff she was saying, I know she was embellishing it a little bit, but maybe a lot of bit, to try to pick at my head and see, like, because I do know he was accountable for on almost every day, except for them days y'all was fighting. That day y'all was fighting, he was just missing. But any other day, he's accountable for it. Like, I know where he's at. I know what he's doing. Either he's here with me or he's on a block with his friends. And I do pop-ups. So if you tell me you're on a block with your friends and I walk through the block and I don't see you, it's a problem. It's up and it's stuck. You know that. But yeah. So me and old girl, we sat on the phone, we was talking. She was telling me how he gave her chlamydia, how she had a miscarriage, how this is first time cheating on her. I'm like, Missy, listen. Let me tell you something here, and let me tell you something here right now. This ain't been my nigga for no more than 3-4 months. And I know for a fact that this nigga here done cheated on you way more than one time. Way more than one time, because I'm looking through his messages, and it's messages from when y'all was together. And I wasn't even in the picture then, with him cheating on you and paying for box. So don't come bullshit me for my son. This is the first time. No, it's probably the first time you found out, because you was letting him do whatever he wanted to do. You was not making sure he was accounted for. These men are dogs. You need to keep them on a leash. And I'm saying they all dogs. Yes, that's what I'm saying. They're all dogs. Y'all are all dogs. It's nothing. No, because every man cheat. It's just about, the respect. Are you going to cheat in my face and disrespect me? Or are you going to do it so that way I don't know you doing it? Have a little respect. Anywho, we spoke. We was on the phone for mad long. Like I said, she was telling me mad stuff about their relationship or whatever. So then, like, he got caught up. So when I was texting him and she was texting him, he stopped responding to both of us for hours, but ended up at my house that night. So I know this sounds bad, but I feel like I won. Like, him coming to me instead of going to her made me feel like, all right, I won. Like, he's here with me. I mean, he could be there with her. Because she was moving like, don't say, oh, maybe he was there with you because she didn't want him. No. She was moving like this is something that she can deal with. That's something like she's been dealing with him. Like, this is nothing new to them. And that was not the case for me. I was heavy on it. If you're going to be with her, then be with her. Then leave me alone. And like, she was just on some like so nonchalant about it. Like, I guess she was used to it. She was going to let it slide. That's cool. Because he still chose me. For the moment. So then, how one day, a few weeks later, we was going good. Like, we would argue, but that was just because you lied to me so many times already. When we first started talking, I really thought like he was real, like he was true to his word. Like I told you, I thought he meant what he said and said what he meant, but that was not the case. So yeah, I ended up like over the few days, like it was a few days. It took me a few days to figure out his new password, but I used to watch him type it in. So whatever numbers I would remember, I would put it in the order that I seen it and that I remember. So it would be like 29163 or some stupid shit like that. Feel me? So I would put it in my notes. And it was these two numbers that I was questioning about, so I put the little slash or whatever. But yeah, that's how I ended up figuring out his password. So after I looked at his phone the first time, he started sleeping with the phone under the pillow. So one day it was on the charger and it was under his pillow. And on top of that, he's a heavy sleeper. I don't even know like why you thought putting it under the pillow was supposed to make a difference. But yeah, so I pulled the charger. You know how you pull the charger real slow. Pulled it real slow. The phone came out. Put the password in from my notes. The phone opened. I locked it back, put it on the bed, put my clothes on. I'm like, this time I'm gonna go read the messages outside. So I went outside to go read the messages. And lo and behold, this is when we went to Spa Castle. This was like right after we went to Spa Castle or whatever. Like not right after, but like a few days after. But lo and behold, I'm reading messages. It's same females galore, same prostitutes in the text now. He's still doing him. Still doing all that, thinking he's slick. But the thing is, with his ex now, he's lying to her. I guess she found out that he went to Spotcast, so I don't know if she was watching me. Well, it had to be me because he didn't really post much. But he did post, but still, like, if she was watching me or him. So I'm just like, wow, that's crazy. You know? He's telling her I went to Spotcast with my friends. You know, that's what he told her. He done spent damn near a band in Spa Castle. She came up to almost $800 to tell her I went there with my friends. Nigga, you paid for that. You paid for me to go get massaged by Ling Ling. You paid for my drink, and you paid for my food, and you paid for my admissions. You paid for it all, and I still got the receipts. So I don't understand why you lied and what you thought you was gonna gain out of lying. But anyways, he did that. That was him. Cool. So I called her. I'm like, yo, this Lexi, right? She like, yeah, who is? I'm like, this Kelsey. She's like, oh my god. And I'm like, yeah, he's lying. He's a liar. For one, like, I wouldn't go to Spot Castle with my friends. I went to Spot Castle with him, and he paid for it. She was like shaking my head. I'm just so over it. Shut up, you dumb. And you were still entertaining him in the messages. So shut the. Just shut up. I don't care if you had him first. You told me you don't want him. First of all, when I found out, I'm like, yo, I would really back off, let you get your man, leave him alone, y'all do y'all. She was like, nah, you can have him. You gonna tell me I can have him for you to still try to be, you know what? It's females like y'all that I'm bust a cap, yo. Come to find out, he's with me on Valentine's Day, right? But he's sending her edible arrangements. He took me on a date on Valentine's Day, but sent her edible arrangements. I'm like, yo, you was a clown. You was a claffy. Real claffy. You know? But then, like, we started arguing over stupid stuff. It wasn't stupid to me, though. It was like he would take forever to respond while he's outside. And my mind would wander to places like, oh, maybe he's cheating on you again. Or maybe he's with so-and-so, you know? Then, he always wanted to be with his friends every day. I don't like that. Like, I don't like sleeping alone. If you're in a relationship, it should be no reason why I'm sleeping alone. What are you here for, then? Like, he was just a liar and a cheater. Like, I couldn't get past it. Like, I would try to move on, but it would just be so hard. Like, every time I just looked at him, I thought about all the shit that, like, all the crazy shit you could be doing behind my back, because, like, you know no limits. Like, feel me? We ended up, like, fighting a lot. Like, fighting a lot. Like, feel me? Every day we was arguing. We would fist fight. I would just punch him sometimes. Feel me? But then, like, it got really, like, domestic real fast, because after that, like, he started arguing in my house. He would bang on my house door. He took my house keys. He had to bring it to my job. Like, he was just doing a lot. Like, it got toxic real quick. Feel me? Like, very, very quickly. He pulled a knife on me because I pulled a knife on him because he hit me. Like, it was just like, are you serious right now? Like, are you serious? But honestly and truthfully speaking, I don't know. He was overall a good person. Like, don't get me wrong. He was a nice person, but it was just like, he did have a few screws loose, and I could not mess with that. Like, no. He scared me. Like, when he got angry, he was really scary. Like, it was his X6. It's like this little card reader that he had or whatever. You know, the little scammy thingy. He had that. And it was one day we kept arguing, and he kept calling me a bee, a hoe, a thought, a DR, a penis writer. Like, I gotta filter my words now. Stuff like that, a whole bunch of names. I'm like, yo, call me on my name one more time and I'm gonna break it. He said, some B, you're not gonna do B, some, and then some more. So, you know what I did? I stomped on it, I threw it on the cement, I was banging it, I did everything. So then later on, like an hour after, he was like, yo, I'm coming for it. I'm like, it's broken. Like, what are you making your way over here for? He was like, I don't care, I'm coming. I'm like, you're gonna be real upset because it's broken. Like, you wasting your time coming here. He was like, fuck it, bring it outside. I went outside with it. He was like, oh, he took it. I went back inside. Excuse me. Then he kept calling my phone down, like, yo, why did you give me this? Why is it broken? I told you I was gonna break it if you kept disrespecting, and you thought I was joking. So I had to show you that this here is no joke, Poppy. It's no joke, none whatsoever. I'm not playing with your ass. You want to play with me and keep disrespecting me? Well, I'm going to show you. You think you crazy? Well, I'm going to show you insane. Keep playing. Feel me? So he kept calling me like, yo, come back outside, take it. I'm like, yo, bro, stop calling me. He called me like 30 times. I'm like, bro, I'm not coming outside for that. It's broken. Like, what am I coming outside? I don't use it. I never used it. I had no purpose for it. That's why I broke it. Or else I would have kept it for myself. Feel me? He kept calling. So I eventually went outside. I'm like, fuck it. I go outside. He passed me an empty plastic bag that I passed him the thing in. I'm like, why are you passing me an empty bag? So I realized, oh, I knew what he was trying to do. He was either going to hit me or throw the thing at me. He tried to throw the thing at me, and I ran inside my gate. But he's taller than me. So, like, by the time he got out his car and took 2 steps, he was at my gate. It took me, like, 6-7 steps to get there. Like, you know, for me? I'm just like, damn. So, like, I can't move because I'm stuck. Anywhere I move, he could just grab me or whatever. Like, so I stand there. He like, yo, I'm trying to talk to you. He's talking, but he's not talking. He's screaming and he's trying to belittle me. Like, he's not trying to have a real grown conversation. He's just belittling me, like I said. So I walk away. He slaps me from the back, and then my mom come outside. He starts screaming, put on a show. He threw the garbage at the door, the house door. He was driving up and down on the block, making mad noise. I live on a one-way. He was going the opposite direction, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. My neighbors called the cops. My mother called the cops. Like, because this was the second time he done did some crazy shit like this in that week. In that week when I say he took my keys, all of this happened within 1 week. He was fighting me in my house, pulled the knife, all this happened within 1 week. Like, you know? So I was just not having it. My mom called the cops, and I was that. Then he ended up getting arrested for domestic violence. The police officer was talking to me. He came to my house. He sent me a picture of him when they arrested him, making sure that it was him. Yada, yada, yada. Then, oh yeah. Then, like, he came home from prison or whatever. His little one night in the bookends. And, we didn't speak for a while because of the restraining order. But then he reached out to me again, you know. I guess he was trying to fix things. Still doing the same bullshit he was doing, fucking the shorty. So I'm just like, yeah, my nigga, I'm done with you. Like, get your life together. You were in that weird ass goofy. Get your life together. Because both of y'all is weird. Y'all belong together for real. But that's pretty much it for this story time. If you guys like this story time, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend because it's just me.